Welcome to the AI Queens podcast, the show where women entrepreneurs learn to ditch the overwhelm, embrace AI, and build businesses fit for royalty. I'm Erika Stanley, your host and tech expert, here to deliver tools, tips, and actionable strategies to help you scale smarter. Let's get to it. Hey Queens, and welcome back. So I have had a ton of people ask me, from clients to casual acquaintances, people who just know that I'm into AI and use it every day, if they should be switching from ChatGPT to Claude. And I am here to level with you and let you know that, I basically have already. I am still using ChatGPT, to be perfectly honest. I still have my $20 a month subscription. I have custom GPTs that I use. I have a workshop coming up on custom GPTs. But it's interesting because when I got asked to speak on that topic, custom GPTs were the best thing out there. And now they're not. Clients are asking me what they should be doing. And a large part of my decision to switch has been political and ethical. You may have seen, you may have heard, it's made national news. Claude's CEO, Dario Amodei, told the Pentagon that they could not use Anthropic's technology to create AI autonomous weapons or to spy on Americans. And so the Pentagon canceled their $200 million contract with Anthropic and immediately signed up with OpenAI. Since that happened, Anthropic has now sued the US government because they were given a designation as a supply chain risk, which is something that's typically reserved for companies that are deemed a national security threat. And telling the Pentagon, you can't use our technology to create weapons that are going to kill people with AI, that's not exactly what I would call a security risk. That's a moral standing. The more I read about Dario Amodei, Anthropic, their whole philosophy behind AI, why he built the company in the first place, why some of the brightest minds have left OpenAI to go work there, the more I hear about it, the more I respect what they're building. But all of that aside, all the politics and morals aside, not that we can set any of that aside, Claude has genuinely changed the way I personally use AI in my day to day. I mean, you guys know this because I've mentioned it, I always keep a chat open on one of my screens, and that's changing. I still have the chat open, but the way that I'm using it all day, every day, it's changing. So today, I want to show you exactly how. I am going to walk you through how I use Claude, specifically Claude Skills, Claude Projects, Claude Cowork, and Claude Code, and how I just this past weekend used it to build a brand new brand and website for my sister in less than a day. I spent a few hours on a Friday afternoon and a few hours on a Saturday, and the whole thing was built, launched, and ready to go, essentially for free. But before I get into that story, I want to give you a quick lay of the land, because when people say Claude, they might actually mean three different things, and I don't want you to get confused. To start off with, there are three main ways to use Claude right now, and they're all within the same core of AI from Anthropic. It's just different ways that you're going to interact with it. First, there's regular Claude. That's Claude.ai. That's the normal website that everybody's going to, that you're chatting with. It's the most similar to ChatGPT. And if you've used Claude, you've likely already gone there to ask it questions, brainstorm, write things, get feedback. It's really great for writing. I have found it better than ChatGPT for writing for quite a while. It's also gotten really good at strategy and problem solving. This is where most people have started, and it's where most people should start. So if you haven't used Claude before, just go play around. It's free to try. This is also where they have Claude Projects. Now, Claude Projects are very similar to OpenAI's ChatGPT projects or even custom GPTs. They work a little bit different and they go a little bit deeper. We'll kind of come back to that in a second. Okay, second, there's Claude Cowork. And this is the one that has been totally blowing people's minds lately. You may have seen it on Instagram or in Substack, wherever you are. People are talking about Claude Cowork. It's basically Claude with hands. It lives inside of the Claude desktop app, which you can't use it in the regular Claude.ai. You have to download it to your computer. And then you can give it access to a folder on your machine. You can describe what you want done, and it works through that task on its own. So it can read files, it can create new ones, it can browse the web and look through different tabs on your browser. It can pull information together for you and create new documents. It can read, create, update, organize actual files on your actual computer. The very first task I did with Cowork was asking it, I've got a downloads folder. I mean, gosh, I had like over 2,000 random files in my downloads folder, and it organized all of those into individual different folders and categorized them. And I mean, it did like a somewhat decent job, but just the idea of moving all of my images or all of the random fonts that I had downloaded into individual folders that said images, fonts, like it was just such a huge help. I want to pause here because some of you might be thinking, do I really want to give AI access to my computer? That sounds terrifying. And you're right to be cautious. A few months ago, there was this tool that launched called OpenClaw, and it was making waves. Everybody was using OpenClaw. A bunch of people gave it access to their entire hard drives, which was a massive mistake. No guardrails, no safety checks, just full access to everything on your machine. Cowork is not like that. It was designed with guardrails, so you can choose exactly which folder it can access. You can even, if you want to be extra careful, you can duplicate an entire folder and then just give it access to the copy and see what it does. And it actually always asks you permission before making changes, which can be a little annoying actually, because you tell it to do something and it keeps coming back and asking you like, is this okay? Are you sure? And you're like, yes, it's just a bunch of screenshots. Like, do what you're going to do, buddy. But at the end of the day, it's built by Anthropic, which, as we just talked about, is the company that told the Pentagon to F off. So the ethics and security here, they're baked into how they build things. They're the first AI company to come up with what they call their Claude Constitution. That is it's the guide for how they want to operate as a company and how they want AI to operate. So anyway, back to Claude Cowork, you are going to need the desktop app. It's a free download, but you also are going to need the paid plan at $20 a month. And I had downloaded it onto my Mac and it was just available for Mac. I think it's now available on Windows. So if you have not tried that out and you've got the $20 a month plan, it's definitely worth checking out. Now, third, there's Claude Code. I know the name sounds like you have to be a programmer. You absolutely do not. That's the whole point. I have been using Claude Code or some type of code within Claude for a while now. When they launched their artifacts, which are, if you've ever used Claude and you've had it open up an extra little window on the right-hand side and create a thing, those are artifacts. And you've been able to kind of minimally code within regular Claude for a while. But this is absolutely next level. People are using it to write entire working systems, dashboards. It is working directly with the files on your computer to build and create things. You talk to it in plain English and it can build, which is what we're going to talk about next. That's how I built my sister's entire website. So 3 Claudes, 1 subscription at $20 a month, and it's all accessible from the same desktop app and from your regular Claude.ai. I'm going to walk you through the case study of how I used all 3 to do this project. All right, let's set the scene. A little bit of background. You may or may not know, AI Queens is not the only thing I do. I have a branding and website agency. So I build brands for women-owned small businesses. That's my thing. I want small businesses to have access to the same types of technology and strategy as big corporations. And technology and AI have allowed me to do that. They have democratized this whole thing. I started my business over 5 years ago with that in mind. What's funny is my sister, who is just now starting a business, she is building this business rooted in really similar values. My sister and I are very different people, but we were raised by the same parents. And so it's not surprising that she is starting her business with those same values. Now, she is a scientist. She got her degree in marine science. She was a science teacher. And now she is starting an agricultural drone spraying business. Here's what that means. If you're a farmer with, say, less than 100 acres, the big crop dusting operations, like the planes, the helicopters that come and spray crops, it's really expensive for them to come out and spray a small field compared to doing thousands of acres at a time. So the financial burden on these small farmers can be huge. My sister has figured out that with a drone, you can fix that problem. She is spraying with an agricultural drone that can get into these small areas. It can go between trees at just a fraction of the cost of an airplane or a helicopter. So it's just her versus some huge operation, which sound familiar? It's just me here building brands and websites and AI systems versus big corporations. So I love the parallel and same energy there. So she's building this business. She just passed all her testing, the chemical certifications, the drone pilot's license. It's been a lot of studying and she's ready to launch. But what she didn't have was a brand and a website. So she came to me in true entrepreneur and definitely Stanley daughter fashion and was like, hey, I've got this thing coming up in a few weeks and I need to order business cards and I need a website. And can you do this for me? Yes, very last minute, but I said yes. Because here's the thing. This is a free project. She's my little sister. So rather than going through my full process the way I normally would with a paying client, I decided to use this as an experiment, a case study. How much of this can I do with AI while maintaining the integrity of the project? And how much can I learn along the way? So, because if I'm doing this for free, I want to be learning a new skill. I want this to be a learning experience for me. Speaking of skills, that's literally the first thing I did. Hair flip. Claude Skills. This may be something you have been hearing about. It's been all over my Instagram feed because AI is in my algorithm. But I want to explain what it actually is because I think it's one of the more underrated features within Claude right now. And this is just regular old Claude. A skill is basically like writing a standard operating procedure, an SOP, but for Claude. So imagine you're writing an SOP for a new employee. Here's how we do this process, step by step by step. And here's all the background information, all the context you need to know. That's what a skill is, but for AI. Now, if you've used a custom GPT in ChatGPT, skills are similar, but they are so much better. They combine two things working together. First, just like a custom GPT, you are going to have a knowledge base. All that context, the documents, the background information, all of the info that it needs to understand exactly just all the context, right? The second thing, and this is where it's super different from a custom GPT, is a process, a detailed step-by-step instruction set for exactly what you want Claude to do and how it's going to use the information in that knowledge base. Now, both of these things live together in that one skill. So when you turn it on, Claude already knows your whole process from beginning to end and has all of your context. You don't have to re-explain yourself every single time. And the good thing about skills is you are actually it's guiding you through that process. So it's asking you questions based on the process, based on what it knows it has to do. So it's getting all the information that it needs to be able to output for you. Now, compare that to ChatGPT, where you either had to be inside a specific custom GPT or tag it into your conversation, which I know has stopped working reliably for a lot of people. I still get mine to work, but skills just automatically load every time they need to. And they work inside of regular Claude. They work inside of Cowork too. It will proactively scan the tasks that you're doing and then pull in whichever skills are relevant. So here's what I did. And remember, this is a learning experience for me, so I'm going to get out of it as much as I can. I went into Claude and I said, hey, I want to write a skill for this thing that I do. And I walked it through my whole process, how I create website wireframes, how I lay out client homepages, what converts, how I make a client story flow down the page. I went back and forth with it. It asked me a bunch of questions and I told it, I want to create a skill for you, but I don't really know how that works. And it asked me enough questions to be able to start building it. I also was able to upload a bunch of my previous documents, templates, frameworks, examples of past work. And then it created the skill document for me. And it told me exactly how to save it and upload it to Claude so that I could use it going forward. So now I have a skill that contains my entire website process for how I create a single page, simple, like one page landing site for somebody. And I can now use that skill on any project at any time. Okay, now step 2, jumping over to Claude Cowork. Now, remember, Cowork is like having a little assistant over on the side who can go into your browser and do things on your computer. To use it, like I said, you're going to download the Claude app to your computer. This is not Claude.ai in your browser, although Cowork does work if you download the Claude browser extension, which is also really helpful, but only if you're using Chrome. Anyway, I've got a couple of folders on my hard drive that already have some of my AI documents, things that I've uploaded to custom GPTs, information about my brand, my business, how I work, what I look for when I'm doing research for client projects. I gave Cowork access to that folder, to those specific files. So now it knows about me and my process and my standards, my design standards. And I had already been working with my sister. So I had a list of websites from a conversation we had had, competitors that she's going to be going up against, other agricultural spray companies in other states where she's not competing with them, the company she bought the drone from, because they've got information on how the drone works and how other people are using it. So I told Cowork, hey, here's a list of websites. Go into these websites, do research, pull all the copy from them. You guys, I could literally watch it working. Over in the side panel, it was going to each individual website page, pulling the copy, and then putting it into a Google Doc for me. I did not have to go in and scrape those websites myself. It did it for me. Now, I want to be clear about something. When I say it pulled copy from competitors' websites, I'm not talking about copying their story. The story we're telling for my sister's website is our family story, her personal drive, why she started the business, what she's been hearing from other farmers. Like all of that came from the interview that I did with her. The information on competitors' websites and the site where she purchased the drone, that's all technical stuff. The drone specifications, the logistics, like the details about how the spray process works. She's brand new to this. She doesn't have or know all of that technical information yet. She's still learning. So I was able to pull the technical and logistical information that neither one of us would have known because she's not a drone expert yet. Then I took that research document, merged it with the transcripts of my phone calls and my interviews with her. And I used my new skill, the one that I had just built, to create a basic blueprint strategy document that I do for all of my clients. Then I used that strategy document plus the transcript plus the scraped research and had Claude create all of the copy for her website. And you guys, I'm laughing because Claude did this in record time. It did a fantastic job. I cannot even explain to you how well it did. It took the conversation that the two of us had had over the phone. It wrote out our family story. It took some of the statistics that it had pulled from the DJI website about the number of acres it can spray in an hour and how much drift, like all of these like super inside baseball things that farmers know and that agricultural people know, but I don't freaking know any of this stuff. So it did so well. Now, here's the caveat. I have a ton of background information that I was able to feed it. I have context. I have how I work documented. I have exactly how I lay out my client websites. I have all of that documented because I know what converts. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I know what converts on a website. I've got the experience to know how a story flows down the page to pull people in and convert clients. All of that was used to build the skill in Claude that I was using. The AI did the heavy lifting. Then I brought the judgment to the table. That's the relationship we want with these tools, queens, like not replacing your insight, not replacing your brain. You are using it as a partnership and as a tool. Now, one thing I want to be super clear about, even though Claude is running on your desktop, everything still goes through Anthropic's servers. The AI brain is still in the cloud. So don't put passwords or any screenshots. Don't put anything in any of those folders, confidential client information, right? Don't put any of that into the folders that you are giving Claude access to. Start with a test folder, give it access to one small thing at a time. This tool is incredible, but please treat it like you'd treat any other cloud-based software with basic common sense about what you'd share. Okay, moving on. Step 3, Claude Code. Here we go. Now, I had used Claude Code a little bit before this project. I used it to help me debug an app that I've been working on in Lovable. There was this little bug, I couldn't figure it out. And so I connected Claude Code to my GitHub, and it was able to see the code in the background, find the bug, fix the bug, and then all I had to do was hit deploy or hit publish, which is just crazy. And this thing had been bugging me for weeks. So I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could use Claude Code to just build this entire site. Now, I build most of my client sites in Squarespace. I am a native WordPress person. I used to do all of my sites in WordPress. I've done some in Webflow, but Squarespace is my go-to because I want my clients to be able to manage their websites without me. I hand over the keys, you manage it yourself. You can change the images, the words. I come from a big agency background where they kind of wanted their clients to feel tethered to them forever. And I don't want that. I don't like that for my clients. So I want you to feel empowered to go in and make changes yourself. However, this is my little sister. She can come to me anytime and I will be happy to make changes for her. And the idea of her having to pay like $250 a year for a Squarespace, like single page site when she's just starting out, I was like, okay, how could I do this for free? Is there a way that I could use my GitHub and host it there so she doesn't have to pay anything? And surprise, you guys, you totally can. It's a single page website and Claude talked me through the whole process. At this point, I've got a wireframe that I got from regular Claude. It's got the colors, all the copy, little placeholder boxes where the images are supposed to go. My sister had already put together a Pinterest board of design ideas and vibes that she liked. I had gone through and curated and edited that. So I took a couple of those examples, fed them into Claude Code along with the wireframe HTML file that Claude had already created for me. And I said, use this to create a one-page website using these vibes and these colors and these design sections from the wireframe. And y'all, it spit out a full landing page. Now, I ended up tweaking and working on this for another 2 hours or so, right? Like getting the gradients right, getting the imagery correct. I found this beautiful free stock photo of a field of crops. And I took a drone photo straight from the manufacturer's website, which she has access to. And I used Google's Nano Banana to create a new image that's basically the drone spraying over that field, which we're using as her hero image. It looks fantastic. So all of these things that I'm doing, I'm using AI at every step. I'm using images she has access to. Claude Code created the folders that I needed, the files that I needed, and it walked me through the process once the test site looked good. It walked me through the process of uploading all of that onto GitHub so that I could make the website live. So I had a working site for her for free with less than a day's worth of work, going from absolutely nothing to a fully functioning brand and website. And I made her business cards. Those I did not use AI for. I just designed those in Canva and then added her to the file. But I basically used AI for the entire thing. Now, I want you to sit with this for a second. 6 months ago, I would not have thought this was possible. Even though I was using Claude and building artifacts and using it for small coding projects and like custom modules for client websites, I loved it, right? But the fact that I could do all of the work that I needed within 3 pieces of this one tool, it's crazy. This is changing the way we work. And I want to impress this upon you. It is already changing the way we work. It's going to continue to change the way we work. I was able to create a full strategy, brand, website, everything in less than a day's worth of work, essentially for free. It's all launched and ready to go. She paid for the domain through GoDaddy. That's like $12.99 a year. And I pay for Claude, obviously, but that's it. And this is just one example. I've seen people creating working dashboards, connecting all of the different tools and the pieces they use in their business. I used Cowork the other day to create a dashboard for me to see if my latest project was profitable. Like I pulled all of the browser data from my computer, popped all of those websites and timestamps in, and it created a full working dashboard for me to see how I'm spending my time. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm spending an embarrassing amount of time scrolling social media in the name of research. So that's definitely something I need to fix this quarter. But I would not have been as aware of it without this high-level AI analysis, which is just really stinking cool. So here's the thing that ties it all together. And I want you to really hear me on this. Part of the reason it has been so easy for me to switch over to Claude, part of the reason it's been so easy for me to start integrating Cowork and Code is because I have a lot of these process documents already in folders, already on my hard drive, ready to go. And the reason I have all of this is partially because I've been building in AI for several years now. So I already had these AI documents. I had built these folders naturally through like teaching courses and trying to show other people how to do this work. I ended up with these process documents just kind of sitting on my hard drive. When it came time to point Claude at these folders and say, here's the information you need, just get what you need and do what you need to do, it was easy. That, queens, is the whole secret. Document your processes. Your process, the way that you work, the reason I was able to get my sister's website done so quickly is because I have a process. Like I know exactly how I like things to flow down a website so that it converts for clients. I've been doing this for a long time and I know what works, but I also have it documented. So I know that. I know my voice. I have context ready. And when you do that, you can point any AI tool at those folders and say, here's who I am. Here's how I work. Now help me. And it can, and it will. And that is what I'm building with my business for my clients. That's what I build with the Brand to Pop Blueprint. It's not just about branding. It's building the foundation that makes every AI tool that you ever want to use actually work for you instead of just some generic prompt that people are still selling on Instagram, these prompts. No, like you need these custom solutions. But here's the other side of that coin. And this is super important as well. And this is what I'm hearing from clients. Don't get so pigeonholed into one tool that you can't leave. Think about it. Microsoft Word to Google Docs. We all made the switch, right? Like I haven't paid for Microsoft Word in years. I use Google Docs for everything. Photoshop and Illustrator to Canva. Most of my clients don't have access to Adobe products. They're all using Canva. And so, yes, I still design in Adobe, but I move everything over to this new free-ish cloud-based software. And now a lot of people are moving from ChatGPT to Claude. Use a tool. Get really good at a tool, but don't allow yourself to get so locked in that you can't move away from it if it becomes in your best interest to do so. Keep your processes documented outside of any single platform. Because if the tool you're using today falls behind or strikes a deal with the government that you think is total bullshit, you want to be able to pack up and move. And if your stuff is all documented, you can. So that's all I have for AI Queens this week. I just want you to realize that the tech, I mean, it's here now. It's here. We're not just chatting with AI anymore. It is actually doing things. And it doing things is more accessible now than it has ever been. You don't need to code. You don't need to fancy instructions for an AI agent. You don't need to be technical. You just need to be willing to get in there and start. If you want to go deeper, if you want help documenting your process, clarifying your brand voice, building the foundation that is going to make AI actually work for your specific business, that's exactly what I do. I mean, that's what I do with my Brand to Bot Blueprint. So you can go on over to aiqueens.com, check that out. You know where to find me. I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Substack, all at AI Queens or at Erika, the AI Queen. So until next time, straighten your crown, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI. Thanks for listening to the AI Queens podcast. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow queen who needs to hear this. Want more tools and tips? Join the AI Queens Society over at aiqueens.com and start ruling your business with confidence today. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI.